You are listening to the Centropic Oracle, an audiobook podcast of science fiction and fantasy short stories that make you think and feel.
The Woodland Express by Andrew Jensen. I've asked management to change the name. Maybe it was an express once, but now it's a milk run, stopping at every enchanted grove, sacred stream, and hidden tower. If you're in a hurry, find another bus. Some of the passengers actually seem to enjoy the long and winding road. The pixies do. Every time a new one gets on, all the others shout out greetings like they're having a reunion every day. I swear they're naturally high or something. Sometimes wonder why they don't just fly to commute. I know I would if I could. But those are pretty stubby little wings when you think about it, and some of them look pretty tired when they get on. That seems to vanish when they see their friends, though. Thank goodness they all hang out at the back of the bus. Their squeaky little voices give me a headache, and they all like to talk at once. On a hot day last August, one of the larger passengers, a teenage troll, opened one of the back windows. A bunch of the pixies blew right out. It would have been funny if the rest hadn't ganged up on the big guy. Good thing I know first aid. And to be fair, once we'd stopped and the other pixies had caught up and swarmed back in, everyone was sorry. With all the pixie dust he got, that troll was in no pain for days. I've seen him on the bus once or twice since. I think he's trying to ask one of the pixies out. I don't know if he's in love, looking for another high, or just plain stupid. You just can't tell with trolls. Then there are the gnomes. They're hard-working little dudes, sure, but would it kill them to take a bath once in a while? And every so often, one of them starts up on the "we're half as big, so we should only pay half the fare" mantra. They get no sympathy from anyone. I mean, with the body odor, each one gets a seat alone. And think of the flip side. Who wants to tell a troll that he has to pay double fare? And would those tiny pixies ride free? Most of them balance on the rails and swing on the straps instead of using seats, but they pay without complaining. No, gnomes are just obnoxious. They claim they want social justice when really they're just stingy. They should stick to making things and quit making trouble. If I was a driver in one of those southern forests, I'd make them ride on the roof where the breeze could air them out. I don't mean to single out the little folk. Trouble comes in all shapes and sizes. Take yesterday, for example. Some human girl with yellow hair got on with her pet bears. Normally the rule is no pets on the bus, service animals accepted. But then one of the bears started talking. So the bears had to pay, just like everyone. Once they started, the bears wouldn't shut up. One of them said the seats were too soft. Another said they were too hard. And the littlest one announced to the whole bus that they were just right. Smug little furball. Everyone hated him instantly. Then Blondie started hissing at all of them in a loud whisper, something about, "Do you want all that trouble to start again?" I was really glad when they got off. Then there are the times the water nixies decide to go into town to shop. I admit there are no good spandex outlets in the forest, so they have no choice. I just wish they wouldn't wet the seats. No one wants to sit on them for days afterwards. That's not quite true. That big-talking wolf doesn't mind. He's really keen about anything his big nose identifies as female. Age or species doesn't seem to matter. It's a little creepy, to be honest. I haven't seen him since the lumberjack convention, though. I hope he's not suffering from habitat loss or something. Then there are the smart alecks. You know, the ones who think they know your job better than you do. 7 of them got on at once. Dwarves, all dressed like miners with their picks and shovels strapped to their backs. That's no problem. Lots of people bring their work tools on the bus. But they were also bringing a body. No kidding, a real live corpse. Well, You know what I mean. Not even in a proper casket either. She was in this fancy thing with a glass top, all dressed up fancy. She was pretty, if you like pale human females. This isn't a hearse, I said. No bodies. I didn't want the other passengers freaking out. She's not dead, said the grumpiest dwarf. She's comatose, under a witch's curse. Great, a witch's curse. Just what I needed. Well, this isn't an ambulance either. Call for medical transport. A different dwarf stepped up to try to wheedle. Please, we have to find your handsome prince. It's a thaumaturgic emergency. No way, I answered. And if you think you're going to find a prince on this bus, you're crazy. A third dwarf stepped up. This one was tidier, with a neatly trimmed beard. Do you know where the word bus comes from? He asked. See what I mean? A smart aleck. It comes from the word omnibus, which means everything. A bus is supposed to carry everything. Your duty is to accept this woman as either a parcel or a passenger. Both are within the traditional work of the omnibus. He stood and stared. They all did. No one can stare like a dwarf. I had no chance. Fine, I said. She's a passenger, but she pays double because she takes up so much space. That was a mistake. I knew it as soon as it was out of my mouth. The other passengers, who had been watching the drama with interest, all objected. I could see the dwarf lawyer getting ready to run up one side of me and down the other. Verbally, of course. I didn't want that. Okay, you win. But if you find a prince on the bus, I want his autograph, okay? I never got the autograph. Did they ever find a prince? That's the problem with being a bus driver. You only get to see part of someone's story. It used to be fun when Jerry worked out this way. He would sit near me and tell me stories from work. Jerry's a banshee, so you'd expect him to be moaning and wailing all the time. But no, he's a real card. Once, when he described the looks of terror he got from his clients, I laughed so hard I almost ran into a holy oak. Nowadays, I have to keep a straight face, though. I'm the driver. I have to show my transpo face to every strange being that gets on. Every blasted mythical rider has to get a winning smile and a polite greeting no matter how I'm feeling. Management is big on public relations these days, and they make us take special courses. We're not PR flunkies, we're hard-working professionals. I don't know how many times I've had to figure out a path when the forest remembers it's enchanted and twists things around. The cheap GPS they give us is useless when that happens, and who do the passengers blame for the delay? The driver, of course. Some drivers are even heroes, like my buddy Ned. He was driving one weekend and a Middle Eastern-looking woman got on wearing a headscarf. Some yahoos started calling her names, saying she was a terrorist or something. Well, we've had sensitivity and security training, and while the union says we're not supposed to put ourselves at risk, management says we have to keep the peace on the bus. Ned was all set to pull over and confront the bullies when the woman stood up and pulled off her scarf. The jerks took one look at her writhing hair and shut right up. Ned watched it all happen in his mirror. He still pulled over because all of a sudden the bus was struggling with the load and the suspension was at risk. He had to lug those statues off and dump them in the bushes with no help at all. He personally saved management a pile of money in repair bills. Like I said, a hero. And what did they do? They docked his pay for illegal dumping. Still, when all is said and done, I wouldn't swap jobs with anyone. It's hard work, but I'm always meeting new people, and it gets me back into the forest every day. They even put in special pedals for my big feet, so I can't complain. Except that my big gas foot is heavy, and if this were an express run again, I could shift past third gear and really get this old bus moving. Feel the wind in my hair. And I have a lot of hair. Oh, well, a guy can dream, can't he?
We hope you enjoyed The Woodland Express by Andrew Jensen, read by Rob Gillespie. If you'd like to learn more about the author and narrator of this story or make a donation to them, follow the story page link in the description. If you would like to submit a story for consideration or apply to be a narrator, a link to our submission guidelines is in the description.